Okay, so somebody asked me why I like spell out specifically vagina, clitoris, penis, anus. And that's something that when you work with children, that's part of the training for sexual assault on a minor. You have to be extremely clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it. You don't want there to be any confusion about body parts or what you're talking about with body parts, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So you're just trying to be incredibly clear about what part of the body you're talking about. And another thing that is a part of like having a job and understanding that line and that boundary, especially when you work with people that are special needs, is that they need to understand that, like, just like every human, just like every person who goes into the workforce, there are certain things that are considered sexual harassment. So if you are somebody who is autistic and your employer or a coworker or somebody is training you to do something in a way that is with your vagina or with your clitoris, or it has some kind of connection sexually, then those would be things that would be inappropriate in a workplace. And again, as a mom and somebody who has worked with small children, especially children with special needs, that's something that like you need to be aware of when you go to find your first job. As sometimes like human dynamic, emotional realm, those kind of things can be tricky for people on the autism spectrum to understand, or people with special needs. So it is important to understand that if somebody tells you something that falls along the lines of using that part of your body to like connect to other people at work, especially during the work day, right? Like that's a co-worker type relationship. The connection wouldn't be on that place on your body. It doesn't really matter if you are joking around and you say things like you're clam, right? Like we want you to be grounded and rooted at work, so that way you're not like as overwhelmed by extremely stressful information. It's still like you shouldn't be referring to things like your vagina as a clam, right? Clams do, mussels do root down to a rock if something tries to mess with it. But that's just a symbol of like a real life situation that you can visualize, and you can see how it kind of roots down and like tightens down so that way it doesn't get ungrounded. It's harder for a seagull to like pluck it off a rock. But they don't mean literally by your vagina. Your vagina is not a clam. It would not ever be a professional thing for anyone to ask you to use that part of your body to like reach out and grab onto somebody. I have actually had an autistic human being who is non-binary tell me that that's how they were trained as an adult in a certain field. So hopefully you have an awareness that that's just really inappropriate. Hopefully you have an advocate or somebody that you can go to that you trust, that can help you understand that perhaps that person is being rude to you and messing with you. Perhaps they're just trying to give you some kind of visual and not necessarily meaning the literal description of doing that with your body. Because sometimes when people say things, it it can sound like really crazy in a literal sense, right? Like, nobody's going to actually do that. But for people that have special needs, that can be tricky to understand. Like, the words that people use are not necessarily a literal definition of what they want you to do. So hopefully that makes sense and is helpful. I just want you to be successful. I want you to understand that.